I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you are not doing well, I am happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. The reason why you are the most powerful person that you know is because only you can create your reality. About 9-10 years ago, I went to a Deepak Chopra seminar. It was a last minute thing, but the universe tends to work that way. He said a lot and it lasts for a long time, but the only thing that I remember till this day when it comes to that seminar is when he said only 5% of diseases are hereditary when it comes to, us being told that you get this through your family, like your family has diabetes or your family has heart disease. Like, that's not true.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. What happens is we learn to eat the way our family eats. We learn to think the way our family thinks. We learn to worry the way our family do. Like, learned behavior is basically what causes us to have these things that they say is hereditary within our families.
Deepak, you're telling us that even if we have cancer or heart disease or obesity in our families, that we can change our destiny and the destiny of our children.
So, Kira, we have to be very careful how we word this. Dr. Rudy Tanzi, who's the director for research and genetics at Mass General Hospital and professor of neurology at Harvard Medical School, he and I have written a book called Superbrain, and what we maintain based on current evidence is that you can change the activity of your genes. You can't change the actual structure of your genes or the sequence of DNA, but you can change the activity. So you can dial them up in a way that's good for you. 500 genes that code for things like inflammation, many types of cancer, heart disease, many types of disorders associated with inflammation such as bronchial asthma. These genes can be turned up in a way that you turn on the good genes and you turn off the bad genes. And you can do that pretty rapidly in less than 3 to 4 months through choices that you make in how you think, how you feel, how you speak, how you behave, your personal relationships, social interactions, yoga, breathing, meditation, sleep, and exercise all influence the activity of your genes, not the structure of your genes. But that's what matters. And as far as future generations are concerned, yes, how you experience life and the choices you make and how you even interpret your life experiences will influence the behavior and even the psychology of future generations. But that part of the research is very preliminary, and it's part of the science that we now call epigenetics.
And this brings me to the point or the subject of today's conversation. When I started doing the generational planets, the slower moving planets, some of you reached out to me and wanted to know, how do you get rid of generational curses? And I'm so happy to talk about that with you because I believe the same method that Deepak mentioned is the same way how generational curses are able to live within us and pass on from generation to generation.
So, why are you here? The issues that I see between my mom and my grandmother, when I get to my mom's stage, I don't want them. I want to cut it dry now.
Are you aware of how much like your grandmother you are?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, a generational curse is basically a learned behavior. And a generational curse can be anything that you have noticed a pattern of within your family.
Based on the example that you set, about how you get along with your daughter, I can see why your daughter doesn't get along with her daughter.
It's this negative thing within your family that seems to move along from one generation to the next. It can be poverty. It could be mental, certain mental illnesses. It could be anything, like I said, that is negative that you notice that keeps moving on.
So, Miss Katie, am I to understand that the most difficult relationship in your life right now is the one you're having with your daughter? Are you open to the possibility that the most difficult relationship you're having right now is with yourself?
In some families, maybe the women seem to have bad luck when it comes to men and marriages, or maybe the men seem to not be as ambitious or productive or good providers or whatnot. And like I said, when it came to that seminar, I walked away with that one thing, and the one thing remains with me till this day, because it shows that we are the creator of our reality. We are the most powerful people that we know, because truly we are the ones that create our realities. So when it comes to breaking a generational curse, I feel like the first thing that we need to acknowledge is, what is that curse? What is that reoccurring thing that you notice that keeps passing along from generation to generation within your family? Once you've realized what that thing is, the next thing is to look into yourself.
When I look at my mother, she makes me feel like that's what I don't want to be when I get older.
When you look at your mother, you should see what you already are. Fact that you can't see it, won't take it, and heal it is causing the breakdown with you and your daughter.
I'm not taking it 100%, no.
That is exactly what your daughter does when you talk to her. Just what you just did to me is what she does to you. And it's what your mother does to both of you. I'm really working with just one person. Isn't that lovely? It's taken me 5 hours to realize that.
And this is why self-awareness truly is a superpower, because now you're going to look into yourself and see if you see any traits of that thing within yourself. And traits of that thing might be a belief. Like, say, for example, your family has a negative relationship when it comes to money. Like, maybe you were taught that the people who have money are evil, and money is evil, and when you die, that's when you'll go to the kingdom and get your riches or whatnot. So having that negative relationship with money is going to project more into our outer world when it comes to money. Again, it's learned behaviors. So like I said, the second thing, we go within ourselves and we become witnesses, become observers. You observe certain ways of thinking or doing or being within yourself when it comes to that generational curse. How are you contributing to your life? What thoughts or actions are you contributing to your life that's keeping this thing alive? And that's why empathy is extremely important.
You're hurt and you've numbed yourself, so you don't have access to your heart. And to sit in your throne as a woman, you gotta have access to your heart.
Like, empathy is important because if a person lacks empathy, then they lack self-awareness, they lack accountability. And if we aren't accountable for our lives, then there's no way we can grow and change. It's like the person that first has to admit that they're an alcoholic in order to start moving away from being an alcoholic. It's like we have to become aware first and then take accountability for our actions. Like, it could be unknowingly that we develop these actions. I'm not saying for us to point a finger and, basically beat up on ourselves. But I personally like to see myself as victorious. Maybe it's my Leo moon. Like, I don't like to see myself as a victim, because if I am a victim, then that means that basically, like, I'm a victim. How do I climb up out of something if I'm a victim? Then that means someone else has to come and save me. And no, I'm gonna save myself because I am victorious, and so are you.
Whether she knows it or not, every woman is born with a crown. Every experience in her life is meant to be a jewel in her crown. As women, our inner work keeps our crown straight, and our willingness to do the work is the only way we can claim or reclaim our throne. That throne exists in the heart of every woman, and it is a privilege to sit in it as a demonstration of what is possible for the princesses in waiting, the women who are coming up behind us in the family and in the world.
That's why you are the most powerful person that you know, because you have the ability to create realities. So yes, becoming aware of, the different things or ways of being within yourself, the ways of thinking, the way you see yourself in the world, the way you communicate, how is it working against you? How is it stopping you from achieving the things that you want? How is it keeping this generational curse alive? Because when you become aware of it, then you notice basically how to, to me, becoming aware means you're almost there. Once you become aware, you are almost there. Because once you are aware, the awareness will help us to take accountability for our actions. So once we become aware, we start to become a better witness. There are so many things within myself that, now that I'm aware of it, I am able to be a better sister. I'm able to be a better daughter. I'm able to be a better friend, because before I wasn't aware of what I was doing. So because I wasn't aware, I couldn't take accountability for it, and I couldn't grow and evolve. So it's super important for us to become aware. That's why self-awareness is a superpower. And we are the most powerful people that we know, because only us can create our own individual realities. But first we need to become aware so we can take accountability as to how we are contributing and creating a world that we do not want to create. It's really that simple. And so when it comes to a generational curse, it's once you are aware, and I keep saying aware over and over again because it is really a superpower. Once we are aware, then we become witnesses. And when we become witnesses of ourselves, we try to catch ourselves when we have done this thing, that is not serving us. And, after a while of becoming aware, in the beginning, it might sneak past you in the sense that, I don't want to, say, for example, I might say, I want to stop speaking negatively about money. So because I made that clear to myself, that's going to help me to become a better witness. So every time I catch myself saying something negative about money, I reaffirm that to myself within myself, or I make different decisions that basically says the opposite, make different decisions that helps me to have a better relationship with money and see myself in the world with money in a positive light. After a while, I'm going to start doing better because I'm aware and being a witness of myself. After a while of redirecting myself, it's like a child. You don't want a child to do something, you keep redirecting them, you keep redirecting them, you keep redirecting them. And after redirecting them so many times, they will stop going in that direction. So the more we redirect ourselves, that is what will help. And I'm reading this book by Dr. Joe Dispenza about being a brand new you, or whatever. I'll put the name of the book in on the screen because I can't think of it right now while I'm in the middle of this talking. So basically it talks about how the body can help you to realize where the mind is, because emotions are imprinted within our bodies. And sometimes like a house that has a smell, and if you live in the house, you don't notice that the house has an interesting smell, you become immune to it. The body can help us to realize where the mind is, what negative thoughts that we're dwelling in. So becoming a witness will help us to feel certain sensations that are negative, and we can realize that, oh, my mind is, thinking about how this person did me wrong, so I'm feeling the sensations within my body. And instead of doing them back wrong, I might say, okay, The way they treated me has nothing to do with me, and I'm not going to stoop to their level and do the same thing to them because I'm not that kind of person. I'm above that. So instead of basically falling into that ongoing thought that I'm unaware of, basically I make a different decision. And the more we redirect ourselves is the more we get rid of those old patterns and those old ways of thinking and doing things. You know, so to me, that's how we get rid of a generational curse, by becoming aware of the curse, becoming aware of ourselves, and becoming a witness and seeing how we are doing different things that are contributing to it, that are keeping it alive, and then start to redirect ourselves. Like, for example, say maybe, you know, for some women who grew up in families where the women are the head of the household and, you know, they're the providers and whatnot.
When a woman has a broken heart and a broken soul, and that woman then has children, it's traveling.
Not being aware of that generational curse, like you might raise your son the same way and take his masculinity away and his ability to provide by doing what you know, basically what you learned growing up from a place of love, not realizing that even though it was from a place of love, it wasn't necessarily the best thing to do. And, you know, you might not realize that, okay, because you had to be so masculine, you have abandoned the divine feminine energy within yourself. And, you know, becoming aware of this, now you're starting to work with your Oshun energy. You're starting to work with the divine feminine energy within yourself and realizing that feminine energy isn't a weakness.
Y'all were never taught boundaries, and you don't have boundaries now. Your crowns are crooked.
Because maybe you saw growing up women who appeared to be feminine women who probably, you know, lacked self-esteem and proper boundaries. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just giving an example. Who, you know, you observe women who lack self-esteem and proper boundaries, and because of their lack of self-esteem and proper boundaries, they experience some really, you know, negative things. So you thought, okay, feminine energy is no good. Like, I need to be bossed up. I need to be this way, when in all reality, that's not who you are. And it's like, how are we able to nurture our dreams, our goals and aspirations if we're shut off from that nurturing part of ourselves, our feminine energy? So that's just an example, but it all goes back again to witnessing that reoccurring thing that doesn't work for you, that you don't want to keep going with in your life, and then see the traits of that thing within you that you've unknowingly learned as a form of survival. You know, become aware of those things, become a witness, and then start redirecting yourself. The more you become aware and redirecting yourself, eventually you will create a brand new you. If you guys are still here with me, please drop me a yellow heart in the comment box below to let me know that you're still here. And please feel free to share your experience or your thoughts or whatever with me in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.